Okay, everyone. It's time for some scary stories. So get your pillows ready because this week we'll be reading your submissions. So let's jump right into it. The first story is called The House That Breathed by Rena. Rena had always been drawn to abandoned places. When she heard about an old house on the edge of the village, she knew she had to see it. The villagers called it Shashnaya, Breathe a house that breathed. They claimed it inhaled at night and exhaled in the morning. Rena laughed at the superstition. A house can't breathe, she told herself. But still, she felt a strange curiosity. One rainy evening, she packed her camera and flashlight. She wanted to capture any interesting architecture and maybe get a shot of a stray animal or two. If it was truly haunted, then perhaps a ghost or two would appear. The road to the house was overgrown with weeds. The trees seemed to lean toward her as she walked. Thunder rolled above, shaking the ground. Finally, she saw a decaying mansion with broken windows. The once red paint was now a tired, rusty brown. Ivy choked the porch railing, its skeletal hands gripping the wood. The air around it felt heavier than the surrounding woods. It was as if the house was waiting for her. She stopped at the edge of the yard. Rain dripped from the trees above, each drop exploding on the hard ground below. Lightning flashed. The silhouette of a woman stood in an upstairs window. She was watching Rena. Rena stood frozen until the flash passed and the image disappeared. She continued walking, stepping onto the rotting porch. A large chunk of wood snapped under her weight. She jumped as the floorboard protested loudly. A single bare bulb hung over the staircase. Its rusted cage swayed slightly, swaying like a trapped bird. Rena took a deep breath and straightened her backpack straps. She knocked on the door, but it was no use. It swung inward before she could touch it. "Hello?" she called into the darkness. No answer. She entered, the smell of damp and mold wrapping around her like a shroud. It was musty and stale, like old paper and decaying wood. As she stepped further inside, she could hear faint, rhythmic sounds. Inhale, exhale. She could have sworn the house was breathing. It was coming from the walls.
She pressed her ear against the faded wallpaper and listened closely.
A low, wet sigh vibrated through the wood. Her skin prickled. The sound grew louder. The walls seemed to swell and shrink. She pressed her palm against them, and it felt cool to the touch. Then, warmer. Then, cool again. The inhale and exhale grew louder. Her flashlight flickered, and in the beam, she saw a handprint small and bloody smearing the wallpaper. They weren't old. Her breath hitched in her throat. The inhale was longer this time. She stumbled back and bumped into a table, sending a chair skittering across the floor. It scraped metal moans. She spun around, her heart pounding, but saw nothing. The front door was now shut tight. She ran to it and pulled, but it wouldn't budge. The house exhaled, and the lights went out. Darkness swallowed her. She found her way to the window and pushed it open. Moonlight spilled in, illuminating motes of dust dancing in the air. She scrambled out onto the porch. Her legs wobbled. As she stood, she looked back at the dark interior. The floorboards creaked rhythmically. Inhale, exhale. Suddenly, something cold brushed against her arm. She screamed. The whisper came again, closer. "Don't leave us." She spun around, but there was nothing there. She called out, "Hello, is anyone there?" Only silence answered her. She took another deep breath and forced herself to calm down. Maybe it was a draft? She could feel the wind snaking around the house. Maybe she was imagining things, or maybe she was going crazy. She had to admit that the villagers might be onto something. This place really did seem to breathe. Still, she didn't want to stay outside alone in the dark. She quickly unlocked the door and slipped inside. She needed to find her phone to call for a ride home. She made her way through the rooms, calling out, but no one answered. She found a staircase at the end of the hall, its banister smooth and polished from years of use. It felt cool to the touch, too cool. As she climbed the stairs, she noticed a rocking chair moving by itself. In the corner, she watched as it rocked slowly back and forth. She didn't want to look away, but she had to. She needed to keep moving. She found her way to a bedroom. its four-poster bed dominating the center of the room. Next to it, a vanity held a cracked mirror. Rena hesitated, not wanting to look inside. What if there was a face staring back at her that wasn't her own? Instead, she kept moving, going deeper into the house. She wanted to find an exit, a window, anything to get her out of there. Suddenly, a whisper drifted down the hallway. "Stay." She spun around, but saw nothing. The front door was now shut tight. She ran to it and pulled, but it wouldn't budge. The house exhaled, and the lights went out. Darkness swallowed her. Something cold brushed against her arm. She screamed. The whisper came again, closer. "Don't leave us!" She stumbled back and tripped over her own feet. As she lay on the ground, she realized her flashlight had fallen from her pocket and was inches out of reach. The air grew colder, and she could feel something heavy settle on her chest. Her breathing grew shallow. Was it the stress? Had she imagined the whole thing? She strained to see, squinting through the darkness. Her heart pounded in her ears, drowning out the whispers. "Don't leave us!" Then her flashlight flickered back on. She was in a different room. Torn curtains swayed, though there was no wind. In the distance, she heard the rhythmic rise and fall. Inhale, exhale, the sound was getting closer. A child's toy lay in the corner. It began rolling toward her. She scrambled backward, bumping into a table and knocking over a chair. Her breath quickened. The toy stopped moving. She took a shaky breath and forced herself to stand. She had to get out of there! The front door was still stuck shut. She raced to the window and threw it open. Moonlight bathed the room in silver. She climbed through, ignoring the cuts that ripped into her arms.
Scrambling down the roof, she felt a warm breath on her neck.
She turned, but no one was there. The floor beneath her crumbled. She spun around, searching for solid ground. Shadows danced along the walls, twisting and turning. One of them reached for her. She backed into a doorway. The floor felt like a heartbeat under her feet. The whisper became many voices, all overlapping. "Stay, stay, stay!" She pressed her palms against the wall, bracing herself as they rumbled like thunder. She closed her eyes, waiting for it to pass. When she opened them again, the walls were gone. She stood in a dark hallway. A cold hand grabbed her wrist. She dropped her flashlight. It rolled away, spinning light across the walls. She saw faces in the plaster, eyes wide, mouths open in silent screams. They moved when she blinked.
One face pushed forward, stretching the wall like skin. It grinned. "You're one of us now!"
She tried to run, but her legs wouldn't move. The floor rose up like waves, pulling her down. She sank into it as if it were water. The air grew heavy in her lungs. She couldn't breathe. The house inhaled, and she disappeared into the floor. Silence fell over the house once more. The walls relaxed, exhaling softly. The front door swung open. Outside, the rain had stopped. The moonlight touched the porch, but no one came out. Inside, the toy lay still in the corner. A faint sound began again. Inhale, exhale. The house waited for its next visitor. In the village, someone else was already planning to explore it. They thought it was just a story, but the house was always hungry. And it always breathed. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you to our sponsor, Audible.
If you've ever wanted to read those books that are sitting on your shelf, now is the perfect time.
With an Audible membership, you can listen to audiobooks anywhere you want. Listen while you walk, work out, or fall asleep. Audible has thousands of bestsellers to choose from, and new titles are added every month. You can even trade in your old audiobooks. It's a win-win. And that's it for this week's episode. I'm your host, and I'll see you next time.